Hello, and a very warm welcome to this Onepoint Oneness meditation session. My name is Els. For those of you who are new, let me give you a little bit of a background to this project. These Oneness sessions are organized by Onepoint Consulting, an IT consultancy company based in London. Several of us working for Onepoint have been meditating on a regular basis, some of us for many years now. The meditation we practice is called Raj Yoga. It's the yoga of the mind. My personal experience is that regular meditation is very helpful as we live in a very fast changing world and are sometimes facing many challenging situations. We had the thought that it might be a good idea to share some of these meditation practices with a wider audience, with the hope that also others can benefit from meditation. The Oneness project was launched way back in May 2020 in the middle of COVID and pandemic, which was a very difficult time for many people. So far, we have had more than 150 international guest speakers who have contributed to this project. These are experienced meditators from different cultural and professional backgrounds and from around the world. The format of the session is a short talk about a specific topic with a short guided meditation. All the sessions have been recorded and they are available on YouTube. Today, I'm very pleased to welcome Margaret, who joins us from London, Margaret Barron. Margaret has a BA in Adult Education and Training. She works as a personal development trainer, creating and facilitating seminars in all aspects of self-development. Margaret has been studying Raj Yoga Meditation for over 27 years now, and she feels that this has supported her in many areas of her life. She has a particular interest in transformative thinking and how to bring spiritual practice and meditation into everyday living. The topic is very interesting: conscious living, making life flow easily. So Margaret, thank you so much for joining us today. Very big welcome, and over to you.
So yes, it's a very interesting topic, and what's so nice about having a topic, it helps you focus in, and I've really enjoyed going deeper into exploring what conscious living is. And so the last little while I've been paying probably more extra attention to being conscious. And it's very easy to see that our life changes when we're very conscious of what we're doing, but it's quite easy to slip into a kind of automatic pilot and live your life on automatic pilot. And in a way, this would be what we would call unconscious living. So we all have many great things that we do in our life, but we also have many habits. And a lot of the habits that aren't so great for us usually come when we're a bit unconscious. So I thought how to handle this topic. And I think my starting point would be to be conscious that there's two worlds that we're operating all the time. And one is the outside world, the physical world, the world of home, work, family, friends, that world, traveling, commuting, all these things. That in a way is the outside world. And there's a whole nother world that we negotiate, and that's our inner world. So both are complex, but the more we're aware of the inner world, then that helps us negotiate or manage the outer world more easily and kind of get into the flow of it. So when I'm talking about the inner world, that's a world of thoughts, and it's a world of feelings. It's a big world, actually. Feelings, perceptions, attitudes, intentions, motivations, what I'm inspired by. So, there's these two worlds kind of interfacing all the time. And I've been noticing for myself that when I'm more conscious of what is going on in the inner world, I almost make less mistakes in the outer world, and I live better. So this is why this topic is quite an important one for me, and I think for all of us, really. So I thought how to break down this topic so that we can make it easier for ourselves. And I quite like acronyms. So I took the word living because it's not too long a word. And what would conscious living be? And if we use the letters of the word living, what might that be? So, and that helped me think about it a bit more deeper and maybe more constructive way. So I decided to take L, and my L would be lightness and love. And they say that love is the highest currency in the world, and the greatest returns are of love. But probably love is also probably the most misunderstood energy in the world too. It's something that we all want, but often we don't go about it in the right way, and we're needy of it. And the love that I'm thinking about is quite different from that. So, but I talked about lightness and love, and I think lightness is a real marker for us in our life. So when we feel light inside, when we feel that lightness may become contentment, happiness, when we feel light inside, it feels really good. And of course, there's lots of lovely thoughts that help us create that feeling of lightness. It's a lovely day. I feel really good. I'm enjoying how I'm contributing to the world. I'm feeling positive. These will give this feeling of lightness, and it will show in your face. It will show in your eyes and how you speak. And I think the marker is when we become heavy about something, and what I mean by that is we start to become negative. You don't feel good. Everything's more of a struggle. Getting out of bed is a bit more difficult in the morning, and we almost want to stay away from people because we're not sure how we will respond and everything. We're a bit more reactive. And so this is quite a marker that we can use. Am I feeling really light and easy and positive, or have I become heavy? And if I've become heavy, it's not like I'm doomed to that for life, but it's just like, hey, I need to address something in myself. And else mentioned about Raj Yoga Meditation, and in Raj Yoga Meditation there is obviously the meditation practice, but there's a big understanding that goes with that meditation practice. And part of that understanding is to always look at yourself when situations come, and to see what you're doing. And in that situation, was I loving? Was I kind of caring and giving? And I remember many years back, I kind of had this thought that I'm not really like a gushing, loving person. Some people are, they're naturally, aren't they? And it's like love just flows out of them. And I knew it wasn't like that, but I was thinking that somehow I wanted to get this energy going more. And, maybe because some people haven't really experienced it in their life, or the wrong type of love. But what I decided to do was to work on being friendly. So as much as I can, I don't get it always right, but as much as I can to acknowledge others. Just maybe sometimes it's like a little nod, like a respectful nod, or to be friendly, engaging, approachable. And actually, these are all qualities of love, isn't it? And actually, I found that that's really got that energy going more and more. So in the study of Raj Yoga, we talk about the inequalities of the being. So we know there's these two words, human, being. The human is more that outside world that I was talking about, the job, the family, the friends, whatever we're doing in life, the human life. But this being is also then another part. And this being we see as one that's naturally in its original state is peaceful and loving and joyful, wise. And sometimes we're not in touch with these original qualities. We're a bit dependent on the external world to give us these feelings. So, for example, before I started to meditate, in fact, it's actually over 30 years ago, I think the equation that I was living by was when life was good, I felt good. And when life wasn't showing me the cards that I wanted, I didn't feel good. And probably that was the equation. That's all I knew how to do. I didn't have any concept of, you could have feelings independent of what's going on. For example, they remember calm in chaos. So I didn't have any concept that it could be chaos all around you, and yet you could feel calm. So it was the same. I wasn't in touch with these deeper feelings of peace and love and joy that were independent of life. I was dependent on life to give me these experiences. So yes, when I was with friends and I was enjoying myself, of course, I felt happy. If I was around people who were humorous, I felt really good. If I was in a peaceful place, I felt peaceful. But I couldn't self-generate it. So that has been one of the gifts that meditation has given me, that I've got much more capacity now to go inside and in a way generate those feelings inside, and then let them out, express them. And that creates a very different life, because although you live your life and you enjoy your life, you're not dependent on it you're not dependent on life to sustain you. In a way, you're self-sustained, and then it's more about sharing that in life. So yeah, you still go meet friends, you still can sit by a lake, but you're not dependent on that lake to give you peace. You're just sitting there enjoying your own peace and the peace of your surroundings. You're happy when you meet your friends, but you're not dependent on them to give you happiness, because one minute they could be happy, next minute they could be in a mood, and then you're at the mercy of their moods. So yes, these two things. So L, I would put the inner marker of lightness and that expression of love from inside out. And that is quite a job, to be always expressing love. So you might have to find your way. It might be that you decide to be respectful to everyone, which is an aspect of love. I took friendliness, but you may maybe appreciate others, accept others. These are all aspects of love, and they get that energy flowing. So for my I would put introspection, because in order to do this, you need to be quite clear what's going on inside you. In a way, being aware of the sort of thoughts that you're having and the feelings that those thoughts generate, and aware of your own attitude to things and your motives for doing things. And this has, been a whole exploration, but a very important exploration, because as time has gone on, I've realized that you actually live in the energy of what you're creating inside. So, we can live in this kind of illusion that I can think something about someone else and it doesn't affect me. So I might be thinking, oh, they shouldn't be doing this, or they should be doing that, or I don't like their behavior, or I wish they weren't here, or whatever. And we can think, because it's about something outside, we think it stays outside, but it doesn't. Whatever I create in my own consciousness, in my own thoughts and feelings, I live in that. So I'm the first recipient of my own thoughts. I'm the first recipient of feelings. And so we can't say that we're separate from what's going on outside. What we think about the outside, we experience. We're the experiencer of it. And this has made me much more aware of letting go of kind of wasteful, negative thinking about others. As soon as I hear these words, ought, should, I think, red alert. It's, it's not about them. It's about what am I creating? And of course, we learn that what you create inside of your thoughts and your feelings, that creates the atmosphere around you. The word Atma actually means the spirit, which is, the same as we would use the word human being. It's the being part. So whatever we're thinking and feeling, we create an atmosphere around us. And that's why we can pick up when other people are in a mood, because obviously they're having a sort of feeling. We pick it up and we know, like, let's not talk to them right now. Let's wait a bit and see if their mood changes. So, and this is based on their thoughts and their feelings about themselves. And maybe they're having thoughts and feelings about others that aren't quite right. And we're picking up that energy. And it's so important to be introspective and be aware of what am I allowing to what am I fostering in my own mind? What am I allowing to be in my own mind? Because that's where we can make the change. I think often we live in an old paradigm that we'll feel good when the world is good, that let's change the outside. So often we think, oh, if I move jobs or I move house or I move location, I'm going to feel better. And you will probably for a while. But if you haven't changed the habits inside, the thinking habits, eventually it will pop up again, maybe just in a different context with a different person. And that's why, I always think if you've got a month, if you are going to change jobs and you hand in your month's notice, that you've got that month to kind of set the record straight before you leave about yourself. Because otherwise, the pattern will repeat somewhere else. So my I would definitely be introspection. So the V that popped out into my mind was virtues. And it's, in a way, virtue is a bit of an old-fashioned word, isn't it? Sounds a bit Victorian, but another V. But virtue, once someone said a very lovely phrase, I remember, was that virtues always win, but they have a different timeline. So when we are in a situation, or even before we go into a situation, it's very good practice to think about, what do I want to be experiencing now? What does this situation need from me? Does this situation need me to be a good listener? Does this situation need for me to be empathetic? Does this situation need for me to be caring or determined or compassionate? Does this situation need me to be strong and flexible? And so if we prepare ourselves more before we go into these situations, then that is the energy that we take with us into these situations. But often we slip into a kind of unconsciousness, in that we think that if we use our tone of voice a bit stronger or louder, it will get things done quicker. And it probably will, because the other will do it out of fear. But long term, they are left with that image of you, and you are left with the experience of your own tone of voice. So you live in that experience. And I had a situation once that really taught me a big lesson, and that was that I was coming up to this mini roundabout, and I know that in England that those coming from the right have the right of way, but there was a car coming, but it was a little way back. So I just kind of slipped around the roundabout, and this other person wound down their window and started really shouting really abusive, filthy language at me. And of course, it was a bit of a shock. I wasn't expecting it at all. And so I pulled over. I let them go, obviously, and I went up the road a bit, and then I pulled over because I knew that that energy was a really, really powerful energy. It was a bit like being hit by this kind of filth. I can't explain it more than that. Filthy energy. And so I just went into my own kind of peacefulness. I just kind of took some time to get myself back together again and just went into that inequality of peace and did that. And then it suddenly dawned on me that I'd only experienced it for, 10 seconds or something like that. And that was such a big force field. And then I suddenly realized, wow, they're living in that. They're living in that energy. And I felt so much mercy because for them, I thought, wow, to be living in that energy, what has happened to them in their life that they would use that kind of language and be so angry? Because a little baby's not like that, right? A little toddler's not like that. Usually a little school child's not like that. But what has happened in their life? What abuse have they probably had to go through that's the result? And actually, for a little while after the next meditation I had, well, I sent them kind of good wishes at the time, but over the next few meditations, I just sent them really, really good wishes. And I just thought, whatever happened to your life, so sorry. But I hope that you find a way to let it go and, feel some of your original goodness. And it was a big lesson for me that we never know what someone else has gone through. So to be kind and caring, and and ultimately, if we're kind and caring to another, we live in the energy of that creation. That as that energy goes out to another, we live in that energy. If we're creating negative thoughts about others, we live in that energy. So, and it was interesting. Someone shared with me just before I came on this session that the word reacting and the word creating is all the same letters, but they're different orders, right? So if you take the C and put it before the T, you get reacting. And if you put the C at the beginning, you get creating. And ultimately, if we're not consciously creating inside in our own consciousness, in our own being, we'll react. We'll default into reacting. So we need to do quite a lot of preparation before we go into our meetings, before we go into our day. What am I creating? Firstly, about myself. Am I having nice thoughts about myself? That's the starting point. Or am I putting myself down? So that is probably what makes my life rich, really rich, is when I have lovely thoughts about myself. What leads me on to the next I actually in living, and that would be inspirational. And I was thinking about, it is really fine to have someone in your life who's inspired you. And there's many, many people who've inspired me in my life, relatives and even famous people, but also I met many, many on this journey who've been inspiring in different ways. But I thought probably the greatest is when you are inspiring yourself. So am I living my life where I am inspired? And if I'm not feeling inspired anymore, if my life's become humdrum or automatic, or, let's just get the job done, that kind of, or the tick list, if I'm not inspiring myself, I need to have a really good look about my own life, about what am I creating in my life and how am I living my life? Because I think all of us at the end of our lives, you want to look back and feel we lived an inspiring life, but I have to create that inspiring life. And it might not mean a big change. It might be that I'm a bit more careful about what I think and what I feel. It might be that I become a little bit more kind to others. And any effort we put in to be kinder, more caring to others, to be more aware of their needs before my own. This creates an inspiring life. It's not that we got to climb Mount Everest or anything like that. That is inspiring, because obviously a lot of prep goes into that. Or if we've got any skill that we've done well, we know that there's practice that's gone in behind. Anyone who can play the piano well, they put in the practice. Any sport, they put in the practice. So there's an appreciation of that discipline. But in my own life, what am I doing that I'm inspiring myself? And I guess that led on to my N, which was being nice. Generally be nice. Don't be that grump, be nice. Be nice to others. But that all depends on, am I being nice to myself? So am I giving myself time to look at my own qualities, to have kind of time out? Am I like a just slave to work and others, and I'm not taking time to go to have my own time of quietness and solitude, maybe go for walks on my own, get out in the daylight, because that affects also how we sleep. And we all have to be aware of this. It's so easy just to kind of get caught up in the admin and not get out. And it's so important for our well-being. So am I doing things that I feel nice about myself? Am I doing things that creates a nice feeling inside my own sense of well-being? Because to the extent I do that and I create a nice quality of life myself, that is what's going to come out. That's what's going to come out in my tone of voice. If I'm not taking care of myself, then I think it happens to all of us. We tend to be a bit more reactive. And so how much am I inspiring myself, and how much is that inspirational life creating a win-win for myself and others? So I don't do things for others that doesn't make me feel good. I don't please others. I don't do things to please others that I then later regret. So I've got to create a win-win in situations where I feel good about what I did and the other feels good about the outcome as well. It might have to be honest, it might have to be constructive, but it's done in such a way that everyone feels like they've progressed from it. And this is an art, really. And sometimes the greatest thing we can do is to listen to others. And we're more likely to be able to listen to others if we've had time to listen to ourselves, to listen to what we need and sort of fulfill that as well. So the G, I would say, is probably about very leading on from inspirational, I guess. How do I make my life great? Because we all want to look back and feel like we had a worthwhile, great life. And I think it's about another G, goodness, and how much I am bringing goodness into my own life and sharing goodness with others. Because I think when we have a life that's I, and me, it can be a very selfish life. And then it becomes then about acquiring things to make myself good. It can then be a life where I'm trying to get the outside life all perfect so I feel okay. And I think it's more about the other, really. It's more about let goodness flow into my life, because I've done that inner work. I've sorted out my thoughts, my feelings. I'm not having negative thoughts about others and what they should be doing, not doing. I'm not the policeman of other people's life. I'm just focused on making my own life sustainable and great through, being aware of how I think and feel. And am I bringing these qualities into life? These are innate qualities into my life and expressing them through the virtues. How much am I doing that? And I think we all learn as we go on that the more we give, the more we receive. I've certainly noticed that, the more you give out, it's almost like that's what gets replenished. It's almost like we can call it the universal energy, or, like the source of goodness. Somehow, as I give it out, it gets filled in me. So the law of virtues is the more you give, the more you get. So the more caring I am, or generous I am, it's almost like I get filled with caring and more generosity. It's a kind of amazing principle. When we just reacting all the time to life and reacting to people, we don't feel good, they don't feel good. So it's not a quality kind of life. So I was thinking how it'd be nice, especially in business, you talk about branding. So I was thinking, could the branding be for each of us be goodness? Our branding is our own goodness. And when we go back to these original qualities of peace, love, wisdom, joy, and probably purity. And what I mean by purity is, that original where nothing's mixed in. When we're carrying big burdens from our past, it kind of gets all mixed in. But the more we let go of the past and live in the moment, there's a kind of purity that allows us to live better. So, and we all have maybe a mixture of these. At our best, we have a mixture of these qualities. So some might have, might be more generous in nature. Some others may be, as I mentioned, more friendly in nature. Some might be very compassionate people. Some may be very empathetic, good listeners. Some may be naturally calm. Some may be more patient. These are all from peace. Wisdom, some people are very insightful. Some people are, they're just wise. They're like the wise owls, aren't they? And, in terms of joy, some people are just more jolly. Some people are more humorous. So we each have our own unique makeup or combination of these inequalities. And when we're at our best and we share these with the world, that's what makes us all unique. It's not that we all have to become the same or clones. No, we have our own branding of these. And when we're expressing them, we will really feel good, and we'll feel good about our life. And it's and I remember just a story to finish with, actually, that I remember many years ago, I was in hospital for a while, for 10 days, and there was 2 different consultants that were looking after me, and on different days. And one of them came at the beginning and came and sat very close to me and said, we don't know what's wrong with you at the moment, but we would like to take some tests. Some of those are blood tests, some of them are different machines and everything, and so that we can get a deeper understanding of what's going on. And she said, is that okay with you? And I said, yeah, that's fine. She said, because it's easier if you stay in hospital and get all these tests done than go back as an outpatient and whatever. And she said, anyway, you need to monitor your progress. And it was great. And then the other consultant stayed at the end of the bed, and was actually having a bit of a barmy with one of the house officers about something not being in the notes. And I just thought probably they're the same level of qualification, and yet the difference. So it's not, we all have a role to play in life and job, but it's what you bring to that. That's what makes you special, is how much goodness do you bring to your role. And there was one person in the hospital who came into the ward that uplifted everyone, and that was the tea lady. She came and she said, all right, my loves, how are you doing? And just the goods, we got some lovely tea today, and we got some gorgeous cakes and biscuits, and I'm sure they're going to make you feel better. I think she alone was probably half the healing process. And she just came in with that, wanting to make people happy and just express that goodness. People were a bit nervous when the doctors came, but they were totally relaxed when the tea lady came. So, is it really about the role we play in life? Yeah, The role is important. Some roles bring us into contact with many people, and that's a great thing. But it's really the interactions we have with others and what we express through those interactions, which is what really makes us great. It's not the level of, you know, where we've reached on the career level. It's the level of qualities that we're able to express in life that makes us great people. So thank you. I'll leave it there, and hope that's been helpful for you. And maybe just as a summary, the L is for lightness and love, the I is for introspection, the V for victory through virtue. It will win eventually. I, how much is my life inspirational to myself first? And I just generally become a nice person. Nice to yourself, nice to others. And G, it's your goodness that's going to make you great. So thank you. And we'll just have a little short meditation, and that's going to be about the inside and outside, and get that sense of the difference. So just sit comfortably and bring your attention. I think one way to do it is imagine, like, inside your skull, at the level of your eyes, there's a circle going around the inside of your skull at the level of the eyes. And outside of that is life. Outside that circle is life. You know, the job you do, the family you'll have, your friends, your neighbors, your hobbies, they're all part of life, which is outside. But if we imagine that we went to the inside of that inner circle, and let's imagine that the center of that circle, we could put a little point there. That's our center point. And sometimes we talk about being centered. So let's come back. Let's leave the life on the outside. Let's come back to that center point. And that center point is a natural stillness. And this stillness brings me in touch with my own peace. And the amazing thing is that peace is always there. It's like a backdrop to my life, a beautiful backdrop. It's always there. It's always been there. It's just that so often our thoughts are about life. It's like our thoughts are going outwards towards life. And we can live totally in that way. But meditation, particularly Raj Yoga Meditation, allows us to bring our thoughts inwards, come back to that still point, come back inside and experience that backdrop of peace. It's almost behind the busy thoughts. And as we experience our own peace, we become replenished, become recharged. And that peace allows us the ability to create thoughts. I am calm. I am caring. That peace allows us to create any thought we like. I am generous. I love kindness. When we come back inside, we become the creators of our own experience. And this is where we feel empowered. It's an empowering thought. I am calm. It's like I'm back in my power. I am kind. What does it feel like to be calm and kind? As I allow myself to resonate into that energy of calmness and kindness, this is empowering. It's rejuvenating. So then when I have to refocus back into the world, it's like I'm much more aware of my inside experience as I come out into the outside life. When I can be aware of both the inner and the outer, this is a big step towards what we call self-mastery. I'm aware of the thoughts, I'm aware of the feelings that I'm creating. I am peace. I have natural calmness. I can be friendly to everyone. I let that energy flow into my life, and it makes my life flow more easily. So conscious living is being very conscious and aware of what I'm creating and what I'm expressing. And if it's not good, change it. Come back inside. Take time. Change it. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret, for this beautiful meditation commentary, but also for sharing your thoughts on this topic. And you started with saying that when I am more conscious of my inner world, I make less mistakes in my outer world. And that's a very interesting slogan or statement or thought. But also you explained that these two words, creating and reacting, are actually the same letters, but in a different order. Very interesting, in fact. So how can I go from reacting to creating? And one last sentence that I've written down for myself: be nice to others, but also be nice to myself. So thank you so much, Margaret. And for those who have joined us today, I hope you have enjoyed the session, and we're looking forward to welcoming you to the next One-Point-Oneness session. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. Thanks, Margaret. Bye-bye.